Good night, good night, good night, everyone. Welcome back to another story time. I'm your girl, Unique, Nickaiya's mom. And as you know, the story is about Nickaiya, my 8 years old daughter, a CP child as of 2016. Now, guys, please, I'm begging you, don't forget to like up the videos, subscribe to the channel, share, tell your friend, tell your cousin, tell them to tell their friends, cousin, grandmother, neighbors, whoever. Just spread it. Okay, so like up the videos, share, subscribe, and leave a comment. Yes, guys, communicate with me. So
walking alone, the streets are empty.
So, to backtrack, I hope y'all remember. If you don't remember where you're coming from, what the story, how we ended the last time, go back and watch those other 4 videos. So we're doing story time 5, right? Now, recap. I left story time off where Nickaiya had the seizure and they took her for CT scan, and the findings were the same amount of fluid I brought her in to the hospital with was the same amount on her brain. Now, you guys tell me, how is it that it's not some form of negligence, one off? Because there's a lot. How is it that she's wearing an external drain? Call it an external shunt then, and the shunt is to take the fluid off her brain, yet the same amount of fluid I brought her into the hospital with was the same amount on her brain. Alright, guys, throughout the night my daughter was like this, staring through the night, just staring. We stayed on the ward because that night, trust me, they don't normally keep parents on the ward. And that night I decided I wasn't gonna leave the ward. I sat by her bed and watched my daughter just staring throughout the night. Nothing. I don't understand seizures. I don't understand the drain. I don't understand what to do. I'm just there like fish out at sea. And she went through the night. Morning comes now, and the doctors at first the nurses, they wanted to see her because there were some nurses in training, and they came there, they were trying to ask her questions and trying to see what she could do. The fact that she had the seizure the night before, nothing. When the doctor came to the ward, the head doctor that is now, that doctor wasn't at surgery because, like I had said in the previous videos, he was just coming in that day from Canada, so he wasn't at work. When he came to her bed, he asked a question. He said, "How is my perky one doing?" And I responded, I said, "She's not going to respond, doc. She had a seizure." He said, "What? What?" And he said, "Doctors?" Because he had the team, he had the senior doctors behind him, and he turned to them and he said, "Doctors?" And they said, "Oh yes, she had a seizure last night." And he said, "What? Open the drain." And he started to look every possible area where the drain could be closed, because they had more than one areas on the drain that you can close it off. And he started opening all of those areas. And he told other doctors, open the drain, and they were there, opening, and he just took her out of the bed like this. And when he opened the drain, the water started to run off, right? And she started to free up, started to release her arms because she was stiff, staring through the night. And you're telling me that these doctors, my daughter had a seizure, And my daughter was like that throughout the night and never came to their brain that, hey, something is still wrong with that drain. Something is off. Because nobody who have seizure should be like that. In that morning when that doctor came and said, open the drain, and all that start to run off, my baby, like it was a release, a freedom. Because all that fluid was just pressing on her brain. And she was just there stiff. And my daughter started to release, moving up, you know. And I was feeling so good because I'm like, okay, my baby is coming around now. My baby is coming around. So throughout the day, you know, I felt much better because I saw that. My God, guys, it happened right going into the evening. My daughter went back to that pace, just staring and stiff. And I was like, what's going on again, you know, because she was good this morning. What's happening? The doctors came because they realized that she went back, and even so, it still never came to mind to check the drain. Something has to be wrong. They came and they said, Mommy, we're going to take Nickaiya back to surgery. We have to replace the drain. We have to replace her shunt. I was so happy now because I'm like, okay, you know, take this thing off because we don't know what it is. Right? We assigned for it and all of that. Going to surgery, guys. Nickaiya just steered going up. You know, when we went to up by the room now, waiting area, you know, the anesthesia, what you call it, anesthesiologist, I don't know if I'm calling the right word, guys, but you know what it is, those person that put them to sleep. And she was like, Mommy, she was asking Nickaiya some questions. And I said to her the same thing I said to her. I said she won't respond. She had a seizure. That her drain is off. Because whenever they're taking her for surgery, they normally turn the drain off. Which that drain has been off from God he knows how long. Because she went back to that stiff pace. And he said, what? She said, Doc, I need to take Nickaiya in. And I will not bring her in like this. I need more than what I'm getting from her. And he said, have them open the drain. And when the doctor went over and opened the drain, you saw the whole fluid running off. And then she free up, and the lady said, same thing Mommy said. They turned off the drain long before time. And have all of that building on my child's brain. Now tell me, how could my child have remained normal with all of that batteration that the brain is going through, with that pressing of the fluid on our brain? Anyways, guys, you have not heard the amount of things. They took her for surgery, right? She went in. It's the longest surgery I've seen. I went home. I went to the place where, you know, my friends gave me to rest. And I was there watching the time, and you know, I keep calling, you know, to find out if she was out it. I left and I went back to the hospital, and guys, I was there for hours, and I'm telling you, more than 5 hours already gone since she had gone. And my experience, you know, with shunt and her, I know that it doesn't take that long for surgery. I would shunt. Anyways, eventually when she came out, her head was all band up and all of that. With, I think, I remember if they didn't put this big thing on it at that time. They said they replaced the shunt. No, Nickaiya wasn't doing anything, guys. My daughter lost sight, speech, mobility. She was just there lying, crying. That's all she did, was cried. She couldn't eat. She couldn't be fed through the mouth. They had to put in a tube to feed her. And that tube was in for about 3 weeks. And guys, guess how we got her to start using While she's in the hospital, me and dad never left the hospital. So what we would do, we'd normally pull the juice, we put the straw into the juice, we suck the juice up into the straw, we use our finger to hold it, put it to her mouth and release. And then at the time, while releasing in small amount, where they're trying to move her mouth up her throat, we're trying to get her to swallow. And that's what we did for that 3 weeks, until eventually she started taking something via mouth. When you looked in my daughter's mouth, not even them did it. It's like she's there and we are the caretakers. It's like we're the nurses. Nickaiya lay there and the whole of the child mouth inside bursts up. Cause you know that I guess when you have seizures, I always try to put stuff to keep you from biting up your mouth. My dad, when you look in my child's mouth, the whole of it bursts up. And we had to be putting olive oil, in the mouth. I guess we're saying the olive oil would help to heal it. That's the only thing we knew how to. We're not medical, we're not professionals, we're just doing what parents would, our instincts. We do that every day. We go and put it, and just like I said, we normally just pull the juice, put it, release, and try to, work it. So I guess we're stimulating somewhat to get her to swallow again. Oh my God. Eventually they came. I didn't even reach that point. It went on for a time, right? Where all she did, once you took her up, once you put her to sit up, she vomited. Once you try to change her, it's crying all over. Crying all over. And we're like, oh my God. We're seeing other kids, other kids are there. We're seeing, we saw a little boy, he fell from a building or something. And our guide, I don't remember. And he said, he was there and every time they're feeding him, he would open the mouth. At that time, he couldn't see. And I was always saying, how does that little boy do that, How he opens the mouth to take it, the fluid. He's not seeing when it's coming out of the spoon, but he's doing it. And I'm like, if he's doing that, then that means my daughter can do that. But guys, for weeks, like I said, we just fed her through the tube. Nothing. We prayed, we sang with her, we played music with her. And for the whole time she's there, it's not like they're doing anything. They're doing nothing for her. She's just there. Eventually, guys, one day the doctor came to the ward. When the doctor came to the ward, he didn't even give me a chance to answer. He started asking questions. What is Nickaiya doing this morning? If she's not doing anything other than what she was doing before, you have to prepare yourself for a disabled child. I mean, who does that? Who just come to you with no form of, what's the word we call it? You don't have no form of nothing. You just come and just lick me with that as if, and he's talking to us like he's on the defense. He's on the defense, like, how you come to me, you're telling me, my child, what is your daughter doing this morning? If your daughter is not doing anything more, you have to prepare yourself for a disabled child. I never went into the hospital with a disabled child. And that's how you come at me to tell me. Guys, I got up and I went outside and I started crying. I cried and I prayed, and I'm like, God, give me a sign. Give me a sign, Lord. Show me something. I'm helpless. I'm hopeless. I never brought Nickaiya in the hospital like this. God, we can't take her home like this. Give me a sign, God. And while I was out there crying, I saw a little boy and the mother come in. And when I saw him with his mother, he came up and he was coming to go on the ward. And they came and they said, morning. I said, morning. And they went in. I wiped my tears and I went in behind them. And when I went in behind him, the little boy, I heard when, the little boy walked over to Nickaiya's bed. And I don't know, God is working. And the little boy came over to her bed and I said, tell her to come back, baby, because like I said, all Nickaiya did was just lying there. Nothing. She wasn't doing anything. She just lay there. And I said to him, tell her to come back, baby. And he shook his head. And I heard when the doctors called out to him. When the doctors called out to him, I said, Jaden, I said, I've been hearing that name ever since. From I got into this hospital, I'm hearing this name. So it was a little boy who had the same or similar issue to what my daughter had. Fluid on the brain, hydrocephalus. And they were saying, oh, he was here before. And so when I heard the name, I said, oh, so this is the little boy they're talking about. So I heard when the doctors, call him and he left. And it came back to my head and I asked Nickaiya's dad, I said, you don't remember that little boy? And he said, no, but knowing me, I look at everything. I observe everything. I observe all the people that come to clinic. Yes, I'm that inquisitive. I'm always looking. So, I'm like, you don't remember that little boy? And I'm sure, guys, it was this little boy with a head size so big. So big, and I'm always saying, how does the mother, how it does that? How she comes to the clinic without a company, with a baby where the baby can't do anything. And guys, that little boy was walking. Remember, I was asking God for a sign. Show me something to say that my daughter is gonna come back. Here comes this little boy that I've been hearing about in the hospital. Similar situation, and remembering what he looked like and what he's doing at the time. He could walk now. He looked like a normal child. The only thing he couldn't do was talk. So when I said to him to tell her to come back, he just shook his head because he couldn't talk. And he went back. And I'm saying, God, this is my sign, right, Lord? This is my first sign. Because if I ask you, show me something, and you're showing me this child that I never thought I would see you walking and looking so normal, this is my sign. Right, that day passed. A Sunday we were there. While we were there the Sunday, a man walked up to her bed, and the man was, what's wrong with your baby? And we're like, this man is brave. Because in order for you to know what's happening with other kids, you have to friend the parent. So for him to just walk up and, what is wrong with your baby? I'm like, this man is very brave, bright, bad. And I just said to him, oh, she did a surgery, because I didn't know who he was, what he's about, just coming up and just asking me questions. I said, she did a surgery. Obviously, he could see that because her head is banded up. And he said, Mommy, I am Damien. Remember, guys, I told you that I was going to give you my story times would include some things that I've seen, how God work. I take these things as signs, the things that went on. He said, I'm Damien, and like he would say, I'm from such and such church. I was at Ward 9. Nickaiya Ward is Ward 8. I was at Ward 9, and something led me down to her bed. Ward 9 now is a ward that you maybe only have a few minutes left to live. He was at that ward. I guess he maybe was praying for a patient there or what. But he said, I'm Damien from such and such church. I was at Ward 9 and something led me to your daughter's bed. Can I pray for her? No. Ever since growing up, you hear, you don't just let any and anybody pray for you. You understand? Because not everybody is of God. So before I allowed him to, I hesitated and I was thinking, and I said, go ahead. When I said go ahead, guys, I started praying myself, because I was saying to God, God, if he's not of you, block him. Little did I know the dad was doing the same thing. He was saying the same thing to God, because we all hear the story. Not everybody should hold your head, or not everybody should pray for you. And after he was finished praying, he said, "Mommy, can I have your number?" I said, "Give us yours." He said, "I just want to check on her, how she's doing." I said, "Give us your number. We'll call you." And before he left her bed, he said, "Mommy, she's going to be okay." That's what he said. He said, "She's going to be okay." And he walked away. And guys, if you know what happened after that, if you know, like I said, Father God never ever leave us. The things God does for us, trust me. And I'm still seeing it. I'm still seeing his work. I'm not a Christian, but I'm a praying person. And I have strong faith, belief. Yes, I believe in God. After that day, my daughter, guess what, guys? You're going to have to tune in to the next story time to hear what Nickaiya did after that prayer, after that man, that Damien, said she's going to be okay. No, guys, this is the end of Storytime 5, right? Please go back, watch the videos, the previous videos, because you have 1, 2, 3, 4, now it's 5. Go back, get those stories leading up to this. Please don't forget to like up the videos. Please like up the videos. Help us get to 150. Thank you, guys. Thank you for subscribing. We're at 110 or 11, somewhere there. Thank you for all who have subscribed. I greatly appreciate it. Thank you for all who have shared. I'm praying, to grow with YouTube. In time, we do other stuff. We have videos. It's just to edit them and post. But please help us to grow with Nickaiya's story, putting it out there. Because it is a story. We reach nowhere, because eventually she transferred. But guys, don't forget to like, share, subscribe, leave a comment, and tune in for the next story time. Until then, guys, I'm Yannick. I'm Nickaiya's mom. Peace. I'm out.